Kickoff between the Chicago Red Stars and the Houston Dash. Dean Linke with Lisa Roman. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. We'll start with the home team, the Chicago Red Stars, led by Rory Dames.
The Red Stars lining up in their traditional 4-3-3 formation, and take a look at Cassie Miller in goal, getting her second start of this season. And also Watt and Pugh, they're going to sit in those wide areas up top with Mackenzie Doniak in that 9. With Doniak in that central position, she'll look to combine more with DiBernardo in the midfield behind her. A little bit of an up back through passing sequence to find Pugh and Watt on those transitional through balls.
And the starting lineup for James Clarkson and the Houston Dash.
The center back pairing between Katie Naughton and Megan Oyster has been phenomenal throughout this regular season, but the pressure is on Shea Groom, joining in the attack from the midfield and contributing with those players up there. The second start for Makame Gomer-Stevens as well in that front line for the Houston Dash. So a lot of new faces to see, but definitely players that can make big impacts.
Well, make no mistake, the story are the keepers. Cassie Miller filling in for Alyssa Nair, the first team goalkeeper for the USA. And of course, Jane Campbell, the third string goalkeeper. Lindsay Harris, the former Tar Heel, will be in goal for Houston. Houston in their familiar orange. Chicago in their dark uniforms.
I love these new uniforms that we get with every new season, and the home ones are so fun. I like this dark look for Chicago for sure.
SeatGeek Stadium just underway. And of course, Houston not only having to deal with Jane Campbell gone, but Sophie Schmidt, a major loss as well. She has been so good as she is now with the Canada Olympic team.
Definitely losses for Chicago and Houston, respectively, for players missing for the Tokyo Olympics. But both coaches, James Clarkson and Rory Dames, have said that their benches are deep. They have players that are willing and able to step up and prove that they deserve a starting spot.
Here's Spencer, who was electric in that win over OL Reign, has bounced around, came off flying, and then got a great pass from Groom. There's Groom right there, side netting. Houston has more players than any team in the NWSL gone for the Olympics. They've got Jane Campbell and Christy Mewis. So great to see Sam Mewis' sister there. And then 3 Canadians in Chapman, Prince, and Schmidt. And then, of course, Rachel Daly playing for the Great Britain national team. Meanwhile, Chicago, 4 USA players: Davidson, Ertz, Kruger, and Alyssa Nair. Houston will play it back. Katie Naughton used to play for the Red Stars for 3 seasons. She's from Chicago. So is Megan Oyster, also from Chicago. So obviously a great opportunity for them to come back to their hometown, as that will go out of bounds.
Houston looking to use this near flank, trying to find Jasmine Spencer on that run. The last time the dash down the field, it was Shea Groom coming out of that midfield position. That'll be really crucial for Houston Dash if they can rotate their players around and have a lot of dynamic runs from the midfield into the attack to throw off Chicago's defense.
That was Aaron Wright wearing number 3 with the throw-in. It'll come back now to Houston. Boy, it seems like forever ago, that Challenge Cup final, but what a great run by both these teams. And it's worth saying again, what a job the NWSL did just to make that happen last year in Utah.
They were the first sport to get back into action, was the NWSL, and it was fun to watch. Those Utah days gave us a lot to look forward to as fans and back rooting for their teams in their sports.
Gautreau, formerly Morgan Bryan, a little bit too deep. Of course, Morgan Bryan, part of that World Cup winning team, the superstar from Virginia. Both Morgan Bryan Gautreau and then also Sarah Killian Waldmo getting married and changing their names as they sit in there with Vanessa DiBernardo. Houston on the attack. Good spacing here. Into the 18, the dash. One extra touch and handled there by Chicago, taken care of by Milazzo, getting the start. Played for Shelly Smith at South Carolina. Part of a great defense in the SEC for the Gamecocks. Excellent touches here. Vanessa DiBernardo. Her dad was a superstar player at Indiana under the godfather, Jerry Yeagley. This comes all the way across and finally cleared out of there. Nice start, though, for Chicago.
A great start for Chicago with Vanessa DiBernardo coming out of that midfield spot all the way onto the flanks to provide crosses in.
DiBernardo knocked to the ground. The referee not buying it, though, as that was Prysock, who won a national championship at USC. I think a good non-call there. There's Sharples. I felt like Kayla Sharples got robbed. I feel like she should have received that goal. It did bounce off the goalkeeper and in. The goal that we showed you in that big win over Washington with that great service from Mallory Pugh, is that somehow stays in bounds. Few headers pinging around. One back here by the Red Stars. Trawl got a piece of it. There's Wright coming forward, and player coming up limping here for Houston. That's Shea Groom. Shea Groom actually got a little rest in this run of 4 wins in 5 games, and James Clarkson talked about that this week. He thought it was important to give her a little bit time on the bench, and she came back and looked really good against OL Reign.
It's important for a player like Shea Groom to get a little bit of rest before this Olympic stretch because now there's so much pressure on Groom's shoulders, not just from the dash, but also pressure that she puts on herself to perform well and be the creative director of Houston's attack.
Nice quick passes here from the Red Stars. That one goes missing, though. It looked like Houston knocked it out of bounds, and I think they did. Nice job by the referee to pick that up. It'll be a corner kick for Chicago.
For Chicago, as soon as Houston defenders will get their back facing up the field, that's when they're going to put a lot of high pressure on and force mistakes like that.
So Mallory Pugh with the quick corner. DiBernardo is in. Side netting, though, wrong side. What a weapon to have in Mallory Pugh, though, taking corner kicks as DiBernardo hit the side netting, but the wrong side. But a nice opportunity early for Chicago.
A really good, quick opportunity for Chicago. Head coach of the Red Stars, Rory Dame, said he was focusing on the 18s, defending their own, making sure nothing gets in the box, or as soon as it's done, it's cleared out immediately, and then focusing on the set pieces in their attacking 18-yard boxes like those corner kicks.
Saw DiBernardo, 2016 NWSL Best 11. She was outstanding for Janet Rayfield at Illinois. Draw back to DiBernardo's been on the ball a lot here early doors of this one. Petraw sends it in. Now Spencer.
Great defense there from Waldmo to step into that passing lane. Waldmo, a player that'll sit in the 6s for Chicago, and she'll really look to read Houston's play when they're trying to build up and go in transition. Waldmo, she reads the play so well defensively. She's able to sit in those gaps and pick off passes very well.
Foul called against Chicago. Emily Ogle will be part of those big shoes to fill with no Sophie Schmidt. And James Clarkson did say during the World Cup year, he basically admitted it was so rough. They were not ready to handle missing all of those players. This time around, they've got 6 of them that they're missing, but he's ready for it. They have a deeper bench. They've made some big signings, and I think they're ready to pick up some points while the players are over in Tokyo.
Some of those players stepping in for the dash, Emily Ogle, like you just mentioned, Dean, and also Gabby Seiler. She's taken her opportunity and she's been outstanding for the dash. James Clarkson is really pleased with what she's been contributing to the Houston midfield. Throw
in for the Red Stars, knocked out of bounds. And the Nebraska Cornhusker Hansen with the throw-in, still wearing that protective covering on that left arm. Good work there by Hansen to get it to Groom. Groom then quickly, so smart with the ball, and the first kind of real shot there for Houston, but just a bit outside.
Great job by Shea Groom, just sitting in that pocket between Chicago's back line and their midfield unit. Those are the pockets that Groom loves to find. And then just a little flick off of the pass as she finds Veronica Latzo. Let's go. Her shot isn't on frame, but it didn't matter. Cassie Miller had the space covered.
Cassie Miller, 48 shutouts at Florida State. That's third most all time in the NCAA. She's played professionally over in the Netherlands. She's already got a shutout this year against Washington. And you think about Alyssa Nair, the first team goalkeeper, and you think about her form, Cassie Miller now stepping in. This is a great opportunity for her.
A huge opportunity for Cassie Miller getting her second start in today's game, and she's been training with Alyssa Nair, who is at the international level and being a huge factor for the Olympics this year. But for Miller, she got plays in the Challenge Cup in 2 games, just 1 goal. Again, she knows what she's doing, and the Red Stars are so confident to have Miller back there.
Houston starting this attack. They were on the left side. Now they work it all the way over to the right side. 6 or 7 different Dash players have touched it. And it'll be knocked out of bounds for a Houston throw-in.
Makame Gomera Stevens with the ball going up against, Sarah Gordon, just dancing on top of the ball. Sarah Gordon, a hard 1v1 defender to beat. Gomera Stevens will have a tough battle against her tonight.
This is Gomera Stevens. How about James Clarkson talking about what a bright light Makame Gomera Stevens has been? A revelation is the word he used.
She definitely is a revelation, a player that had another year of eligibility in the collegiate space for NCAA Division I and chose to come to the Dash. Such a bright light for Houston to have her. And not a lot of expectations put on Gomera Stevens, and James Clarkson just happy with what she's been able to produce for the team. And she got her second start tonight because of all the hard work she's been putting in.
Cassie Miller will drop it to Kayla Sharples. Kayla Sharples, like Jackie Manny, who is calling games, is an analyst with me on the Big Ten Network. 3-time first-team All-Big Ten selection for Northwestern. They won a lot of games with Sharples, who's on it now, and Hannah Davison, who used to be with the Red Stars. Now she's overseas. So it's good to see Sharples stick with it. She didn't play a ton at all for the last 3 years, and now's a regular starter.
All that hard work off the pitch, it really goes and makes a difference when players like Sharples can get the start, and Rory Daines is seeing that for Chicago, having Sharples step in. And hey, in my book, she got the goal last week against the Washington Spirit.
Amen. And, you know, when you're training with Julie Ertz and Tierna Davidson, 2 of the best, and of course, Julie Ertz, yes, known for playing in the midfield, but also one of the best center backs you're going to find in this league, you're going to get better. Mallory Pugh, Rory Daines saying for, as far as he's concerned, she's the MVP so far of the NWSL. High praise for number 9. Pugh, driven in, good ball. Falls at the top of the 18. Just 13 minutes in, no score, but both teams have had shots in and around the goal. Nothing super dangerous, though.
Nice look at Mallory Pugh in the back line for the Red Stars, dropping back in her defensive shape to fill in the holes.
That's that tactical awareness that you felt like she had when she was 5. I mean, you talk about a phenom at an early age. That's a lot of pressure with that as well, because people were talking about her when she was 12 or 13 years old.
It is a lot of pressure to put on a young player like Mallory Pugh, and Rory Daines is aware of the pressure that has been put on Pugh's shoulders, and he's just trying to relieve her of some of that pressure, trying to find Pugh's just pure enjoyment of playing the soccer game. She's not the superstar that has come into Chicago. Instead, she's just a piece of the puzzle for Dames.
14 minutes in. Visit NWSLshop.com to find your club's latest gear. Support your favorite NWSL club with the latest tees, sweatshirts, hats, and so much more. NWSLshop.com. Minute 15, still here at zeros. A missed touch there. It'll come back to Houston. As you see, James Clarkson spent a long time with the Houston Dynamo Academy program and moved over a few years ago, and obviously great success last year as they brought some hardware home to put in the trophy case, and they're starting to deliver that same form here in these last 5 games, winners of 4. After turnover, though, the Red Stars pressing down. That'll be deflection. It'll be another corner kick. Corner kick, Chicago.
Good look for Chicago as they get on the quick transition. As soon as they get the ball, the Red Stars are going to look for 1-2 passes to break down the midfield and defensive line of the Houston Dash and get in behind. It's those crucial first 2 and 3 passes that gets the Red Stars down the field and into a good transitional attack.
It was Mackenzie Doniak who earned the corner kick for Mallory Pugh. Oh, what a ball for Mallory Pugh to Doniak right at the top of the 6. You can't ask for better service.
Doniak even giving her teammate Pugh a hand clap there. She was pleased with the ball and the positioning. For Doniak, though, square her shoulders up. If she can face the goal as that ball comes in, then she's more able to redirect the ball down towards the net so it doesn't go over the crossbar.
Doniak drafted 11th overall in the 2016 NWSL draft by the Western New York Flash, then moved with the team to the North Carolina Courage. Has now found herself here with the Chicago Red Stars. Former University of Virginia Stars, battled through some injuries as well.
With Doniak sitting in the front line for the Red Stars alongside Watt and Pugh. Watt and Pugh are so speedy, so with Doniak in that middle 9 position, she's able to drop back in front of the opponent's defensive line, receive the ball at her feet, turn, and find through balls for Watt and Pugh, the speedy ones in the front line.
Dangerous pass back there by Houston, but they were able to get out of trouble. High press right now from the Red Stars. Even without those 6 Olympians, I think it's fair to say, Lisa Roman, Houston's got that toughness. They know what it takes now to win, and that's what they're bringing.
They do have the toughness, and Houston is known for being really resilient as a team and as a unit in the NWSL especially. And last year when they won the 2020 Challenge Cup, James Clarkson said, "This is no surprise for us. We don't want the league to be surprised that we are holding up this trophy. This is just one step in the process to being one of the greatest teams in the NWSL."
Corner kick for the Dash. There's James Clarkson, who I believe will ask Emily Ogle to take the corner kicks. Of course, no Sophie Schmidt now, so Emily Ogle, who serves some great balls for Erica Dombach and the Penn State Nittany Lions. Here's Ogle. Ogle, top of the 6, headed out of there by the Red Stars. One back by Houston. And coming in with the hard tackle there was Watt. Of course, Khalil Watt, a 3-year captain for the Houston Dash, now in her 2nd season with the Red Stars.
Watt really finding her rhythm alongside Pugh in the attack, and defensively stepping in to win that one cleanly.
Nifty back heel there by Doniak. Some really good touches, first touch passes there by the Red Stars. The last one missing and sent deep there by Lindsay Harris. And that will go out of bounds. So Lindsay Harris played at UNC I do some work with Anson Dorrance, and I asked for a comment, and he said, and I quote, this is from Anson, she's one of the best goalkeepers I've ever coached. She is calm, good with her feet. She can make the great save. She is popular with her teammates and coaches. She is a starting caliber goalkeeper in the NWSL, and obviously Jane Campbell was a big-time goalkeeper, but the Houston Dash will not lose anything with Harris. Those are big comments. Handled by Miller.
Great presence by Miller in the 18-yard box. She's loud. We can hear her directing her team and organizing. And as that cross comes in, it's right into her hands. The confidence from Miller is something that you really love to see in a player that is getting her first starts of the season for a team.
Spencer forcing the turnover. Spencer was flying against Olel Rain. Cuts it back. Spencer's got a chance to shoot it and shoots it right at Miller, who's got the save.
Jasmine Spencer receiving that ball in the midfield unit and just taking off. It was Kayla Sharples who steps up to defend and forcing Spencer wide. A really nice slide tackle there by Sharples. She doesn't get all of it though, and Spencer staying on top of it. It's a little more clinical in that shot for Spencer and would have found the back of the net.
Spencer has bounced around quite a bit after spending a couple years at the University of Maryland. 2013, she was with Washington. 14 and 15 with Western New York. 16 and 17 with Orlando. This one sent across and nobody home. Then she was with the Olel Rain for 3 seasons, 18 through 20, and that's probably another reason why she was flying all over the place against Olel Rain and had that great goal.
That's exactly it. She was fired up. She got her first start with the Dash against OL Reign last week, and man, did she show that she deserved to be on the pitch. She worked so hard, got the goal for the Dash. She earned another start tonight against Chicago.
Harris, the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper coach for North Carolina, Chris Ducar, calls her Jedi for her calmness and the ability to make the big save.
What a nickname, Jedi.
Yeah,
love
that'll
that. Work. Love that. She has such a force with how she saves the ball. I mean, it works. Any way you get a nickname, it works.
Spoken from two non-sci-fi people. We'll go with it. Zeros here, 22 minutes in. Dean Linke with Lisa Roman. This is usually the time, Lisa, where I like to lean on you a little bit and get your take. Let's start with the visitors in orange. Houston, your take on the Dash so far.
The Dash are being patient, as we see now, as they're working the ball around from one side of the pitch to the other and have Ogle like that dropping into the midfield. If they can keep the ball moving from side to side, the high pressure will come from Chicago, but the patience is what is going to help the Dash break down Chicago's great high press here.
Obviously, the Red Stars coming off that big win over Washington, they need it after some inconsistency. Your thoughts on the Red Stars so far?
We haven't seen many direct balls from the Red Stars trying to find Watt and Pugh up top. They're really trying to play a bit more simple. I'd love to see just a long diagonal ball from someone like Gautrat or Waldmo, even DiBernardo on the diagonal, and see if they can get in behind Houston's back line.
There it is, folks. Lisa Roman breaking it down halfway through the first half as we still search for the first goal. Zeros here. The Washington State youngster signing, turning the corner, but knocked away there. Makame Gomera Stevens. Such a strange year because of the pandemic. It's great to see some of these college players now get some action, and there's more than just Gomera Stevens. You're seeing Brianna Pinto for Gotham. You're seeing players for Portland, the star at TCU, getting out there as well, and Yasmin Ryan. I mean, all kinds of college players starting to work their way in now.
And it's a great year to do that, knowing that the Olympic stretch was going to happen and more available starting, and minutes were going to open up on these NWSL squads. And to have the talent coming straight from the collegiate level into this league is huge. There is a bit of an adjustment for the rookies with the pace of play and the physicality of the NWSL, but players like Gomera Stevens just slot right into the program. They don't miss a beat at all.
I feel like it's a major faux pas to mention the North Carolina Courage during a Red Stars game, but because you called the game and they lost, it just shows you that during this Tokyo Olympics, it'll be time for teams to make moves.
It definitely will, and a chance, especially, I think looking at a team like Houston and Chicago, this is a chance for the Red Stars. Yeah, they're missing a few players, but they have so much depth on their bench. Now they can really try to get goals, find a rhythm at this phase in the season, and connect with their unit, find some consistency in their play over the next few weeks.
Watt whistled for the foul, taking down Ogle. Gomera Stevens sent back in and picked up again by Miller.
As the cross comes in from Gomera Stevens, only one true runner, Latsko, in the mix of the box. Jasmine Spencer holding her run a little bit. I'd love to see that cross have a little bit more mustard on it so it goes towards the back post and makes it very difficult for Cassie Miller to grab it when the ball is lofted farther into the box.
Miller's got one shutout already in that Washington win. Looking to make it 2, as we're still at zeros as we walk up to minute 26. I like the tempo and pace of this game, though. It's definitely been back and forth. Hansen. And then the combination of Oyster and Naughton, as we mentioned, both from the Chicago area. Of course, Naughton played for the Red Stars for several years. Prysock, former national champion for Kanani McAlpine and Southern Cal. Oyster going to bomb one long. Lisa Roman was asking for a little bit of that. Here we go. Good combination play, and the flag is up, though, offside. And sometimes it works to bomb one long and see what you can make happen.
That's probably the second or third time we've seen a long ball coming out of the box, out of the back for the dash from Oyster or Naughton, trying to find Gomera Stevens on the break right over the head of Milazzo for the Red Stars. That time, Gomera Stevens just a step offside.
How about overall? 38 NWSL players. Over 14% will be represented in the Tokyo Olympics.
It's a huge percentage to see. I mean, this league is so fantastic with such great depth.
Sharples, side of her foot, knocked out of bounds. It'll be a throw in for the dash.
When Groom gets off on a quick step, especially going against Sharples in the back line, that's where she can beat the Red Stars back line.
Shea Groom. Vlatko Andonovski has paid attention to Shea Groom because he knows her so well. She played at Kansas City. She's from Kansas City. Vlatko still lives in Kansas City. Good hustle by Wright. You see Rory Deems in the middle of your screen. 9 years the top man of the Red Stars. Played over the top. Out comes Harris.
It's not a bad look by the Red Stars, having Pugh dropping back, trying to receive that ball at her feet as Doniak makes that diagonal run over top. But the timing of the pass needs to be a little sharper. A bit more texture on the ball will slow it down as it bounces, and then Doniak can jump on top of it.
Naughton scored her second header of the season against OL Reign. Aaron Wright has her pass intercepted as she was trying to find Watt. Sent back in there by Prysock. Houston sends it all the way back to reset. Spencer tried to one-time it, looking for Groom making that run right down the middle.
Chicago's doing a nice job of reading the forwards runs for the dash as Groom comes out of the midfield, easily picked up by Sharples in the back line. I mean, a lot of credit goes to the Red Stars right now and their passing defensive shape. As players run through, they're handing them off. You can see them passing the players off and communicating that.
Houston trying to now pin Chicago in. Can they do it? The Red Stars escape. This is going to be a good counter here. You find Mallory Pugh, and it is on. Mallory Pugh will drop it over, looking for Doniak, and it'll be a corner kick. What a counterattack from the home team, the Red Stars.
This play starts with Pugh as she picks up the ball and she starts charging forward. The space just opens up. You can see Doniak on the right side of your screen. She cuts in front of Pugh, and Mal Pugh actually getting a nutmeg on Oyster, trying to find Doniak. Doniak just a step behind trying to get onto it, but that diagonal run from Doniak throws off the Houston defense and allows the space to open up in the middle for Pugh.
Yeah, remember that play, particularly if it leads to a goal here. Pugh over the ball. She has sent in some wonderful corners already. And of course, the corner to Sharples giving the win over the Washington Spirit in their last game. And as I say that, I jinxed her right there. She sent that one out of bounds.
Little broadcaster curse there, but that's all right. Mal Pugh will get it back. She'll have another one giving direction to her teammates. A heavy corner kick we just saw from her, not thrown into the mix at all, instead all the way to the other side of the 18. It's a fine line between not allowing Lindsay Harris to easily pick off the corner kick, but also keeping it inside the mix so her teammates are there and can try to get something on the end of it.
Harris boots it shy of midfield. Second, third, fourth ball. They continue to battle. The Red Stars come out of it. Kalia Watt. Watt with the cross. Trying to get something done against her former team. Great defense there. Cattrall probably doesn't get enough credit for the work she does defensively.
She does so much work, and now for the Chicago Red Stars, it's been about 27, 28 minutes into this first half, and they are finding their offensive rhythm. They know how to attack. They're finding the holes to pop into, like Mal right there, sitting in between the center three for Houston Dash. Those are the pockets where the team in black can find the ball, turn, and go at Houston.
Good fight here for the Red Stars, but picked up again by Harris.
That's the ball, though, for Chicago. You saw Mal Pugh dancing around that back line between Naughton and Oyster, and then as the gap opened up between outside back Hansen and center back Oyster, Pugh just pointing her hand there, looking for the ball, and it coming in. It's just the timing of it that needs to be a little bit more perfected for Pugh to get onto it, but that's the rhythm for Chicago to get in behind.
This was started from Harris. It looked like Houston was going to be able to make something out of it, but then lost it out of bounds. Veronica Lasco got her head on it, and then she was looking to peel off. The Red Stars back to Pugh again. Pugh, the ball at her feet. She has been impeccable here in this one. Pugh, that one denied. It'll fall to DiBernardo. Cattrall. One too many touches, and good work coming back all the way was Lasco to knock it away. So now Miller will start the offense for the Red Stars.
Chicago has the pieces of the puzzle. It's just putting them all together. And as this half continues to go on, their rhythm is coming together. They're finding better passing sequences. They're reading their teammates more and more. But then the final pass just disrupted by the Dash. Dash staying really patient in their defensive abilities and just keeping the ball in front of them.
Sharples calls to get it back. 3 players from that Northwestern team making it to the NWSL is not only Davison and Sharples, but Marissa Vigiano, who has scored some big-time goals for the Orlando Pride, not playing quite as much right now, but Northwestern normally known for doctors and lawyers and CEOs and that type of thing, starting to develop professional soccer players.
They sure are. No school, no stone left unturned to find players. If you get into a good program with good coaching staff and players that are ready, willing, and able to learn and develop themselves, good things are to come. "35 minutes. Still no score between Houston and Chicago. That was Wright sliding over to get her head on it. Good turn there by Woldmore as it goes out of bounds back to Houston. Miscommunication there between Gautreau and Pugh. Pugh checking back, looking for the ball at her feet, and Gautreau trying to play that long one over the top all the way to the flank. Nice work out of the back by the Red Stars to find the feet of Gautreau. Now Pugh will bring it back. DiBernardo. DiBernardo trying to run it down inside the 18, sent out of there. Right now, Houston absorbing a little bit of pressure here. Chicago keeping more of the possession. Chicago loving that left side of the field. And Houston doing a nice job to keep them over there, not allow the switch to come all the way to this near side.
Ogle using her goalkeeper Harris, but it was won back by Chicago for a moment. Then Houston will get it back. Houston will try to push it forward, nobody home. And Miller will come way out of her goal box and give it back to Sharples.
I mean, no pressure from Houston. Why not have Miller come all the way out and collect that one? Save your backline defenders from doing a few more yards of running. We know they do enough throughout this game. Especially if Houston's going to sit back and really stay on their half defensively as that ball gets into their end. It's showing that Houston, instead of pressing in those moments, they're just reorganizing their defensive shape because Chicago's doing such a nice job of moving off the ball and drawing Houston defenders out of position.
Excellent point. You see the low line of confrontation from Houston. As you're right, Sharples had all day to knock it back to Miller, and Latsko really didn't leave the center circle. Who's going to step up? Who's going to make a difference here? Can we find a goal before the first 45?
Well, as the wind has been shifting, Chicago's been more on the front foot towards the second half of this first half. And now with Houston passing the ball around, it'll be their chance to try to get a break and get in behind the back line of the Red Stars.
For me, Lisa Roman, one of the things that I've always loved about this league is how it develops players, and it also gives young women the dream to be able to be a professional player. But when the World Cup and the Olympics happen, that's when I get most excited, because that's when you see new players step up and be recognized and perhaps get the notice from Vlatko Andonovski or another international team, because this league has also been great for not just the USA, but for Canada, New Zealand, and other countries as well.
There is so much depth in this league, and each team, it shows, having players missing now during this Olympic stretch. There's no drop off in level of play and competition competition and the intensity on the field. If anything, the intensity is heightened that much more because now it's an opportunity for players that haven't seen many minutes to get that starting spot and prove that they deserve to be on this squad. So much more to come for all of the teams in the NWSL.
DiBernardo, good idea, then touch got away. Watt will clean it up though. Watt's got a lot of attacking players in front of her. Back to DiBernardo. Now Watt will touch it backwards as she'll find Wadmo. Again, you see Houston dropping back though, very compact. Chicago's going to need to figure that out as well. If Houston's going to pack those lines of 4 and just have that one forward up top, but even stay at midfield, they're going to have to figure out a way to break down that bunker.
One of the ways to break down a middle block that Houston's showing right now, where they're making the field really small from their defensive 18 to the halfway point. For Chicago, it's switching the ball from one side of the field and having the weak side be ready for the diagonal switch to come, or even pop in the holes on the weak side of the ball. So when the ball for Chicago is on this right near side as it comes in, I'm looking at Watt on that far left side, see if she can pop into that hole. Again, Gautrat stepping in there and seeing if she can find the ball as well.
We'll keep our eyes out for that as we now are in the 40th minute. Do not think we'll have a ton of added time as it's been pretty clean. Rory Dames, 9 years the top man, still very involved at the youth level as well in the area. In fact, he was telling us he's got some youngsters, so he's coaching 5-, 6-year-olds now.
How fun, a different view of the game when you have players that young just happy to be out there and kick a ball, run around.
Spencer. I believe she was trying to cross, but not successful there. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, we'll take a look around the NWSL. Some of the weekend highlights, some great games. Sydney Leroux with that thriller. Tremendous service from her goalkeeper, Harris, late in that one.
Good game between Orlando and Louisville the other night.
You call me all day. You leave it for 3 minutes.
And as we already mentioned, a great win for Washington over the North Carolina Courage, led by a former Courage member who at the time won the NWSL Rookie of the Year, and Ashley Hatch taking care of her old team. '42nd minute. Once again, Chicago causing a turnover. Mallory Pugh gets a little touch on it. Wadmo. There's Hansen. Hansen was so great for Coach Walker and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. They broke into the Big Ten. They actually won the Big Ten, and Hansen was a key part of that. 43rd minute. This is a good ball. Touch gets away and it'll go out of bounds. It'll be a goal kick back to Houston.
The Dash doing such a nice job of forcing Chicago to play on that far left flank of the field, preventing any big switch from coming in. As soon as the ball gets into Waldmo and Gautrat, DiBernardo in the center midfield, even Sarah Gordon in the back line when she receives it. They have forwards Veronica Latsko cutting off this left near side of the field from Chicago.
That was Tatum Milazzo making that long run. Harris for their left foot, one back by Spencer. Spencer taken down and will earn the whistle. unconfirmed, but we mentioned, Lisa, this game has been really clean. We believe there's going to be 0 minutes of stoppage time. I think that's fair, as this game has had a nice tempo. Referee Samantha Martinez has been solid. She's been officiating NWSL games since 2019. She's also refereed for USL, the US Open Cup, and the ICC. Running downhill, Watt. That looked like a handball off of Oyster, and you know the Red Stars fans were calling for it. Watt wanted it. Watt, we just were talking about Samantha Martinez. That did look like a handball to the naked eye.
It definitely did. Watt going right up to the center official to see it as Watt crosses the ball in. Yeah, bounces right off Oyster's hand. And then as the cross comes in again, you see Oyster throw her arms behind her back. She knows she made a mistake as that ball hit off her hand.
Her hand was outside her body. That's a handball, Lisa.
It is a handball, not intentional, but it doesn't matter. It stopped the play from developing.
You feel like Oyster's body language kind of told the story as well.
She's even rolling her wrist. The ball hit it so hard.
So Houston, perhaps a little lucky there. Final seconds here of this first half. And that should be it, and it is 0-0. Quick thought on the first half.
Chicago feeling out Houston throughout this first 45 minutes, and they found their rhythm towards the end of it with Malpew and Watt. Doniak up top, finding the holes where they can receive the ball. And for the dash, they're doing a nice job of making the field really small for Chicago. But as soon as Houston wins the ball back, I want to see a quick counter from them. Long diagonal ball, springing the opposite side, weak side forward.
6 players gone to the Olympics for Houston, 4 gone for Chicago, but the level of play has been outstanding. It's end-to-end, does not feel like a 0-0 game at all. And I do believe we'll see a goal in this one from either Rory Dames or James Clarkson's team. Perhaps they even missed a handball, but through 45, we're at zeros. MasterCard as the Red Stars fans looking for anything to cheer about here at home.
Some ponchos on for those fans trying to stay dry from the rain that's sprinkling over SeatGeek Stadium. It doesn't stop the smiles though, cheering on their hometown team.
I like some of those self-made ponchos as well. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do to stay dry and enjoy the game. This game still searching, wanting for a goal. You see Houston back out there running in their orange uniforms. Got some Dash fans just outside of Chicago at this one.
Making the trip up from Houston to cheer on their team, perhaps.
So we are going to have one change for Chicago. Mackenzie Doniak's going to go out. Katie Johnson, who has made appearances for Mexico, acquired via a trade from Sky Blue FC back in 2019. The former University of Southern Cal player is now into the game for the Red Stars, Lisa. She wears number 33. So Rory Dames going to his bench, as you see her right there.
A good look to have Katie Johnson coming in, provide a bit of a spark, more creative adversity and, creative diversity in the attack alongside Watt and Pugh. And credit to Doniak, she created a few of the chances that the Red Stars had throughout that first 45.
Katie Johnson, 84 appearances and 24 goals during her time at Southern Cal. Scored a brace against West Virginia in the 2016 College Cup Finals. She was actually a featured speaker along with Kadani McAlpine at the College Soccer Coaches Social. I had the opportunity to introduce both of them, and I was very impressed. Really bright young woman. Ogle, big shoes to fill with Sophie Schmidt glad to see that they made it 22. You know, you think about Lynn Williams for the USA, but I also think about somebody like Sophie Schmidt that I just did not think it was right that she was listed as an alternate. I think she is somebody that could be of value to Canada at the Olympics.
So many players benefiting from that, and for the Chicago Red Stars, it's Casey Kruger, initially named to that alternate list and now on the full 22 roster. And a player like that, we asked head coach of Chicago about that, Rory Dames, and he said, yeah, Kruger's going to get playing time now that she's on the full-time roster. There's no way she won't, because she's that much of a dynamic defender for the national team.
Houston. Now, one of the things we talked about off the air was, you reminded me that James Clarkson did say his plan was to try to get it to zeros at halftime, and we're already seeing perhaps a different tactical approach here, as right away Houston has a corner kick.
That's it for Houston, and James Clarkson, he wanted his team to be really sound defensively, and if you can hold Chicago off for 45 minutes, that's a key part of it.
Ogle with the corner kick. Miller got her hands on it. Ogle sends it back in. And Ogle's there again, as Chicago having trouble clearing it. There's Spencer fighting for it. Finally, DiBernardo does clear it to midfield. And it's almost like a reversal here as we start the second half. Houston with the possession and very dangerous here to start.
James Clarkson happy with his shutout after the first 45, and now giving his players a bit of creative freedom on the ball, a little bit more space in their attacking end, to the freedom to roam about and try to find each other on the pass and break down Chicago's back line.
Spencer, good pass to Ogle. Ogle looking for Groom. A rare loss of the ball there by Groom. Kalia Watt had some sparkling moments along with Pugh in the first half for the Red Stars. Really, it was the breakaway from Pugh and Doniak that was perhaps the most dangerous play. That and what we thought was a potential handball from Oyster in the final minute. That one served back across and out of bounds.
Pugh got her head up quickly. She wanted to whip that cross in. She tries to curl it so it goes around the back end of Houston's back line. Instead, she gets too much square on the ball, so she hits it too squarely and it goes straight over the end line.
Knocked out of bounds, and the Red Stars will have a throw-in. So the Red Stars surviving the first couple minutes from Houston, and now they're back on the attack. Milazzo with the throw-in. You think about McCaskill, who did play for Chicago, now with Louisville from the University of South Carolina. You saw Kaylee Kurtz yesterday, and now you see Milazzo. South Carolina sending a lot of players to the league.
Seeing more of a high press from Houston now as Chicago passes it around their back line. We didn't see that in the first half, and now Houston a bit more aggressive in their press, seeing if they can pick off passes from Chicago's possession buildup.
Throw in for the dash. Ooh, that's a foul. Good draw. Is that Waldmo? Yeah, Waldmo. That was a foul. She questioned it, but I can make that call.
Little body bump there against Houston.
Spencer. Good little turn. Spencer, back-to-back solid games. Sent into the 18 and cleared out of there by Milazzo. It'll be a throw-in for the dash.
Dean, you're complimenting Jasmine Spencer's ability to turn through those players there. She has she's a shorter player for the dash. She stands at 5'1", and that lower center of gravity allows her the ability to turn so easily on the ball and dodge between defenders.
Kalia Watt, that's Pugh who gave it to her. Kalia Watt denied there, bumped off the ball by Knowlton. So Naughton, who used to play for the Red Stars, and Watt, who used to play for the Dash, involved in that last play. Ogle pushing it forward. We have not said the name of Veronica Latsko, the former Virginia Cavalier, a ton in this one.
She has been quiet throughout this first 45, and now as we enter in this second half, I'm sure we'll see more of her as she's finding her footing and popping into those pockets in between Chicago's back line.
And Lisa, of course, it was Latsko who ended Orlando's reign, as Orlando was undefeated before Latsko had that game winner. Part of 4 wins in their last 5 games for the Dash.
That's the beauty of this season. Anything can happen on any given day, and a team like Houston Dash can go on a 4-win streak, a 3-win streak, and just like that, rack up points and shoot to the top of the standings.
That is so well said. If Kansas City can figure a few things out, they're the only team kind of sort of looking up at the rest of the pack. But if they can figure out some consistency and add a little more talent in there, boy, it'll really be exciting as we roll on.
And Kansas City has that opportunity tonight as they travel to OL Reign to take on them in Tacoma.
Push forward for Watt, and out of bounds from Oyster. Harris, we told you about the kind words from her collegiate coach, Anson Dorrance. There's Mallory Pugh from Littleton, Colorado. Kristen Hamilton is also from Littleton, Colorado for the North Carolina Courage, and I always give Kristen a hard time because she didn't know that April Heinrichs, one of the best ever as a player, of course, used to coach USA, is also from Littleton, Colorado. I would say Littleton, Colorado has produced some big-time talent.
I mean, Mallory Pugh coming from there, Hamilton, definitely talent coming out of Colorado. It's so fun to see these players. They're connected all over the country.
So the official wants to talk to the Chicago bench, I believe. Part of the assistant coaches. Scott Parkinson over there, along with Julianne Sitch, former professional player. That's one thing, officials will listen all day to the head coach, but when the assistant coaches start barking, they usually come over and have something to say about it. Johnson into the game for Rory Dames, who we did not see in any of that conversation with the official.
Good turn by Johnson. She gets the ball on the flank. Her back to goal, but she does a nice job to get a quick touch, turn, and force the corner kick. Now an opportunity for Mal Pugh to send a ball in and have something creative for Chicago.
Anytime Mallory Pugh has a free kick opportunity or a corner kick, it is trouble. Headed off by Ogle. Pulled down out of the air by Watt. Watt creates her own space. Sends it back. That's a great ball. Just missing as she was looking for Milazzo, who stays forward. A flag is up now, though, and it'll come back to Houston.
Incredible ball by Watt. She did such a nice job giving the thumbs up to her players making that run. She pulls off the defender. Here is Watt as she, beautiful touch of the ball to settle it. She knows she has the space and players. It's DiBernardo running, and then it's also Kayla Sharples on that back post. We saw Sharples get a goal last week on a play just like that from Watt.
Good tackle by Naughton. Oyster. Again, both those players, you got to believe their family is here. They're both from Chicago. Oyster and Naughton. Good hustle by Wright. There's Latsko. That hustle forces a throw in down near the corner flag. Let's see what the Dash can do here, Lisa, with a throw in. Prysock. So Prysock, who played with Johnson, now will have to mark Johnson, the former Trojan superstars that won a national championship. 57 minutes in, still no score. James Clarkson, the top man for the Houston Dash. As I mentioned earlier, spent a lot of time in that Houston Dynamo Academy. And of course, the Houston Dynamo and the Dash now have a new owner in Mr. Siegel, who's a huge fan of Tab Ramos, the head coach of the Houston Dynamo on the men's side. From Kearney, New Jersey. Ogle. Oyster. Oyster with a long ball to Hansen. Hansen, is it deflected? It is, and it's a corner kick. Corner kick, Houston.
Great job by Hansen to push up all the way on this near flank and get into the attacking end, and it's Oyster who finds her. That pass from Oyster breaking down the front line for Chicago and that midfield line, allowing Hansen to draw this corner kick. It's one pass like that, breaking down two defensive lines. That will be huge for Houston to get in behind.
Emily Ogle. And Ogle forces Miller to take a look at it, but Miller clearly didn't touch it, as it'll come back to Chicago.
Not a bad ball there from Ogle. Looked like she was trying to put that one in the back of the net herself, and Miller doing a nice job to see that it touches the crossbar and she doesn't get fingers on it, so Chicago keeps possession of it.
So you think Ogle was thinking about an Olympico there, huh? Just bend it right in.
Hey, why not? If she has the skill to do that and curl that ball in with her left foot, why not? Give it a shot, force Miller to make a save.
Meanwhile, Clea Watt wins it back again. Watt has had herself a good game against her former team. Harris outside of the 18, safety first. Lindsay Harris. She will be the goalkeeper while Jane Campbell is with the U.S. team. Pugh. And Milazzo can't run it down. It'll come back to Houston. Great defense from Hansen. Been impressed by Hansen in this game as well.
All of the back four for Houston, Prysock, Naughton, Oyster, and Hansen have done a really nice job of staying compact. It's the spaces in between them. Yeah, they're giving Chicago looks in those holes, but as soon as the ball comes in, they collapse around, whether it's Pugh or Watt who's receiving that ball, and just collapsing in on them, making it really difficult and making Lindsay Harris's job in goal really easy. No saves for Harris so far on the evening.
You think about Watt, she remains the all-time leader in goals for Houston with 28, and their all-time leader in assists with 16, all-time leader in minutes played, games played, and games started. So eventually somebody will pass her now that she's in her second year with Chicago. But she did a lot of good work for Houston. Here's the Red Stars sent back across. Looking for Watt, just as we were talking about all those goals she scored for Houston. She was trying to score one for Chicago. And Groom going the other way. Ooh, and Groom taken down. And they're going to call that on Groom, I guess, as that touch got away from her and she slides in.
Groom can be so dangerous when she receives the ball and she goes forward into space. Waldmo doing such a nice job of tracking down the play, coming in with so much speed. Waldmo does get the ball, and Groom just clipping Waldmo from behind.
I always feel like Shea Groom is even faster with the ball at her feet than without her. She can really fly.
She definitely can, and it's hard to run with the ball at your feet. You have to slow down your stride in order to get the touches in, and Shea Groom makes it look so easy to run at top speeds while dribbling.
62nd minute. Milazzo knocked out of bounds. It'll be a throw in for the Red Stars. You can start to hear the Red Stars fans making some noise here. Watt bringing it in the second half. Milazzo sends it in with her left foot, chested down. And here's Spencer. Spencer making a long run. 50, 60 yards for Spencer. That looked like she was fouled. Give advantage and a goal for Houston. They give advantage to Spencer, and I believe it's Latsko with the finish, and Houston leads at 1-0. What a run from Spencer, 70 yards, I believe.
Incredible job by Jasmine Spencer. She picks this ball up in the defensive end and just takes off. She dodges the tackle from Waldmo, and her head is up. And that's what makes this pass so great to Latsko. And Latsko just holds up her run a little bit and able to get a clean strike on it, sends it right past Miller in goal.
So I had the opportunity to call the OL Reign game, and Spencer came out. We've touched on this already, but she was flying from the opening minutes. I couldn't keep my eye off of her, and then Groom gave her that great ball. She's brought that same energy, that same ability. Here's a veteran journey player who is making a difference now in the last 2 games for Houston.
That play definitely established with Spencer. You have to give a lot of credit to Latsko. We mentioned at the start of this half, she had been quiet, but that was due to the defensive efforts of Houston. And as Spencer just attacked the space in front of her, Latsko knowing where the space was wide, getting it through, and the one-touch finish was just beautiful.
So Houston on top 1-0. Lisa Roman, I got to give you credit. As we talked at halftime, you reminded me that James Clarkson said he had a plan for the first half, and it worked. And you also said you wouldn't be surprised if Houston would come out and get the first one after doing exactly what they wanted to do. And sure enough, led by Spencer in that incredible run. And as you said, low to the ground, hard to knock her off the ball. A great run, and then finding Latsko for the 1-0 lead.
Let's see if that run from Spencer and the goal for Houston to get on the board first takes a little bit of air out of Chicago and keeps momentum in Houston's direction.
Or will it light a fire here, because they've got a lot of talent still out there with Watt and Pugh flying around and Morgan Gautreau in the middle of the park, DiBernardo. Watt has been very good here. She may try to do it all by herself with her left foot sent across. Hansen hustles. Johnson in there. Milazzo sends it back in. There's Spencer. Morgan Gautreau will push it out wide. Good ball in, looking for Watt.
A few dangerous looking chances for Chicago. They are hungry on this attack as it bounces out. Take a look at this Spencer run down the field. She does such a nice job dodging, and then as the defenders close in on her, she just slips that pass out. And Kayla Sharples, the ball just bouncing off of her. Incredible job by Latsko on that finish.
Number 22, what a run by Spencer, a long run. Phenomenal job by our producer, Eric Falero, Jose Boizo, Manny Simone, and our great cameramen and women giving us an extra look at that goal. And Latsko taking advantage of that run. And as you mentioned, Sharple's not able to clear that final pass from Spencer, and let's go with the only goal so far. 66th minute. Pugh. I do think Chicago has the weapons to find the equalizer. I do like the change as well of Katie Johnson that Rory Dames made. She's going to help as well. We think down a goal here. We think the 9-year top man, Rory Dames, is going to bring on some more players. Here's Watt, who's everywhere. Wow, Lisa, you are on it, because I thought for sure it was actually going to light up Chicago with that goal, but really after scoring, Houston a lot more confidence. They're starting to keep more of the ball.
Houston is sticking to their game plan, shut out Chicago in the first half, and then see what they can do in the second. For Chicago, they're so dangerous on the transition, and with Houston just sitting back throughout that first 45 minutes, they prevented Chicago from even attempting a transition. There's nowhere to transition. Houston never moved out of that low middle block that they had. And now for Chicago, it's just playing smarter as a team, understanding their strengths on the field with the personnel that they have in the game. With Pugh up top, you have a quick force and a quick step. If they can get Pugh the ball with a late run from DiBernardo, there's plenty of time left in this match for Chicago.
So Rory Dames is going to bring in Alyssa Maltz. Plays a lot of work defensively, but Maltz is going to come in. Wadmo is going to come out. So we'll see if Maltz sits in the middle next to Cottrell, or if she'll play somewhere else. And we'll see if Rory Dames changes his formation at all. Searching for the equalizer here now. So Houston also going to make a change. A new signee, Michelle Alozie, who actually played for Nigeria, now into the game. So making her second appearance. And good to see Colaprico, who had a cup of coffee with the national team as well, battling through some injuries. But Danielle Colaprico, former Virginia Cavalier, into the game for Rory Dames on the other side.
Colaprico fighting off some injuries over the last couple of weeks. She'll get limited minutes today. That's why we see her coming into this second half, but she's a good pair in that middle of the field.
So Rachel Hill gonna come in for Milazzo. So Rory Dames here making multiple changes to try to get that first goal and tie this one up.
Rachel Hill slotting into the back line for Chicago. She's a forward. She knows how to get forward. She knows how to contribute in the attack. So putting her in that outside back position is such a weapon for Chicago, to have her able to get up and down the flanks and contribute with crosses and combination play with the front three.
That'll go out of bounds. Good look at Rory Dames. Congratulations, by the way, to Chicago Red Stars Julie Ertz, who won herself an ESPY. That was last night, right? I can't get my days straight here. Was that last night?
It was last night, yes.
Well deserved. A fantastic player, and certainly hope that she is healthy. She is one of those players that I would pay to watch all day, any day, Julie Ertz, just for her work ethic alone. Phenomenal, phenomenal player, and certainly hope that she's getting healthy to help the U.S. team win the gold medal. And then how about Samantha Mewis winning the International Player of the Year for the ESPYs. And you think about her sister, who is such a key part of this Houston team. She's going to get some time in Tokyo.
Love to see that sister duo on the national team, the Mewis sisters.
Visit NWSLshop.com to find your club's latest gear. Support your favorite NWSL club with their latest tees, sweatshirts, hats, novelties, and so much more. And we got a whole lot more here in this second half, including an incredible run from 70 yards or so from Jasmine Spencer, dropping it off to Veronica Latsko, and that's where we are right now, 1-0, all happening in the second half. And Rory Dames making multiple changes to try to get Chicago back in this one. As we mentioned, Houston coming into this game one of the hottest teams in the league. Cutting back there was Wright. And I believe they called a handball there, so it'd be a free kick opportunity.
That play called against Alazo. Stepping into the match for Houston, going up against Erin Wright. Erin Wright, it's those outside back positions now, Hill and Wright right on this near left side that'll get into the attack, try to draw those plays. And it's the set pieces in and around the 18 that Chicago has been focusing on.
Mallory Pugh, great ball, and that's headed in. I'm not sure if it was an own goal or what, but it goes in. Sharples right at Pressure applied caused those own goals, and that's why we're at 2-1, Chicago on top.
And not just the pressure, but the opportunities created from the Red Stars players getting into their attack, driving end line, throwing crosses in, drawing fouls for set piece opportunities. All the building blocks for the 2 goals.
Kalia Watt. That was a Losey keeping an eye on Watt. Now it's Hansen. Losey almost intercepting that pass. Boy, Gautreau can make the game look so simple. That was not the best pass, but she cleaned it up.
The shuffle over, make her teammate look good, collect the ball at her feet, and she does it so seamlessly.
'81st minute. All 3 goals coming here in the second half. Ogle does well to get out of pressure. Reminding you that she fills the shoes of Sophie Schmidt. I can tell you OL Reign on top of Kansas City 2-0.
That game in the 37th minute.
I mean, the NWSL standings, it's going to be like a pinball machine here over the next month for sure, up and down. It is going to be wild.
It is a very good way to describe it. When we asked Rory Dames about how comfortable he felt at his team's position in the standings right now, he said he was really happy. He marks down early in the season before anything starts. He marks out phases for his squad and where he projects them to be throughout the season. Right now, taking a look at his journal and what he's jotted down, Chicago Red Stars are right on track. As the season gets down to it, the last 4 to 6 games are so crucial for any team. If you get those wins, it's a quick 12, 15, 18 points. You jump the standings. 3 points with a win. They're huge in the NWSL with 10 teams, the top 6 making the playoffs, first place and second place getting a bye.
Catching you up, Houston with the goal here in the second half, but then 2 own goals have given Chicago the lead. As you see right there, let's go, courtesy of a tremendous run from Spencer, one of the best you're gonna see scoring, but then 2 own goals, one coming off of Groom for the first one, and then one coming off of Knowlton for the second one to give Chicago a 2-1 lead. That after Rory Dames made multiple substitutions down a goal.
What a coach Rory Dames is, understanding those subs coming in. One of those subs coming in up top for Chicago, Katie Johnson. She made a difference as soon as she stepped on the pitch. Just a different look in the attack alongside Watt and Pugh. And then Colaprico stepping into the midfield for the Red Stars. She's provided a different look. Gautreau now sitting back more in that 6th position, and Colaprico the freedom to move forward and roam a little bit.
Hannah Diaz is going to come in. The next opportunity for Ali Prysock. So wearing number 16, the 25-year-old, into the game for James Clarkson as they now are searching for the equalizer after squandering that 1-0 lead. And this is when Miller will take her time. 2 own goals have given Chicago the lead.
Take a look back at the second goal for Chicago. It's Gautreau on this near side. She gets the cross in, And as runners crash in and around the box, Katie Naughton trying to defend this for the Houston Dash, but facing her own goal. An unlucky touch by her.
Katie Naughton, Chicago native, spent some time with the Red Stars. Looked like a foul there from Gautreau. They'll play advantage as Ogle has it. Hansen. Miller spills it, and they do have a whistle though.
Miller coming out for that ball, not able to grab it cleanly as Dash players crashing in around her. The whistle ultimately blowing in Miller's favor.
Mentioned it earlier, but 48 shutouts under Mark Krikorian at Florida State. Still the third most in NCAA history.
The depth at the goalkeeper position around the league is just tremendous. I mean, Jane Campbell for Houston playing all of the minutes in this regular season, but players like Lindsey Harris coming in and filling that role seamlessly. And then Cassie Miller for the Red Stars stepping in behind Nair and doing a nice job.
Looks like we've got a shot to the head as Latsko is down, Veronica Latsko. Minute 86, and the Houston Dash trainer.
As that ball coming in, Latsko just getting hit in the back of the head with the ball. Never good to see. You could see the center official referee immediately calling on the training staff. Concussion protocol taken very seriously within the NWSL and with these teams. Brain health is so important for these players.
So well said. You're hearing the wisdom of Lisa Roman. I'm Dean Linke, delighted to be with all of you here for an exciting one here. No goals in the first half, and we were wondering what was going to happen, and super exciting in the second half for sure. Can't say I've seen 2 own goals within 5 minutes like that, but the Red Stars will certainly take it here at home.
They will take it. If I know Rory Dames, and I do, any goal is a good goal. It doesn't matter how it comes about. And 2 own goals against Houston, that'll do it for Chicago.
Hansen comes flying in and whistled for the foul. She'll get a yellow card as well. Solid performance from Mallory Pugh.
Good to see Mallory Pugh playing a full game as well. She's battled with some injuries, getting her fitness level up and her confidence, and she's been tremendous. Rory Dames giving high praise to Pugh and her proving it tonight.
That's so well said, Lisa. I feel like he stayed on the call a little longer than he normally would to point out the amazing work that Mallory Pugh, who you see right there on your screen, has done this year.
She has done a tremendous job and really finding her rhythm and her confidence within this squad. And to have a coach like Rory Dames playing into your strengths as a player, and for Mallory Pugh, that's having the ball at her feet, those set piece opportunities, sending those crosses in, running at defenders 1v1 and using her speed, all the qualities that Rory Dames tries to utilize when Pugh is on the field. It just helps your confidence as a player to know that your coach is trying to highlight your best assets as a player.
The early word is 2 minutes of stoppage time. Knocked out of bounds, and now Houston can send a whole lot of bodies forward here. One back by the Red Stars. Boy, Houston came in as one of the hottest teams, and Chicago came in with that huge win over Washington, a win they needed. I mean, they beat North Carolina, kind of came out of nowhere. Then they mixed a few losses in there, then came back with the Washington win. And then you felt like after that run from Spencer and the goal from Latsko that maybe Houston would keep their hot streak going. But if Chicago can win this, the Red Stars, a team that is always there, right? They're always in the running for the Shield and for the playoffs with Portland and North Carolina.
Chicago is a team always in contention. We see them at the top of the standings most often. This season, they're still working their way up, but it's right on plan and right on schedule for Rory Dames. And I'm not surprised at all with a game like this and a performance like this from the Red Stars. They put so much pressure on their opponents. They imposed their game, and it worked tonight for the Red Stars.
So it's official, 2 minutes. Spencer, her work rate earns a quarter kick for Houston. So plenty of time. Diaz will hustle over to take this corner with her right foot.
A really good set piece opportunity here for the Dash. All players crashing around Miller, making it difficult.
High lofted ball. Chicago does well to defend that corner kick. And they've got about 1:15 here to hang on and get those 3 points at home against the red-hot Houston Dash. This could be back-to-back win for the Red Stars with no goals scored. An own goal where Sharples was involved. Sharples was involved again on that first one. And then Naughton, great ball from Morgan Gautreau sent in. And can you believe that they could win 2 games back-to-back without scoring a goal? Own goal, the best friend of the Red Stars.
Really good look there on that set piece for Houston. Cassie Miller coming up with the ball. She does a nice job in goal throughout this game, organizing her team defensively, being that vocal leader in the back that Chicago needed throughout this match.
Final seconds counting down.
Ooh.
It's been a pleasure to spend time with Lisa Roman, and there's the whistle, and Lisa, Chicago comes from behind courtesy of not 1 but 2 own goals and 3 consecutive own goals to give Chicago back-to-back wins. The final score, Chicago 2, Houston 1.
A lot of credit to Chicago's midfield with Morgan Gautreau, DiBernardo holding it down in that midfield unit. And credit to them for putting a lot of pressure on Houston Dash. I'm sure James Clarkson not too happy with the goals that came out of this game for his squad. But remember, Jasmine Spencer getting that initial run at the start of this half. 3 own goals in the last 2 matches for Chicago Red Stars. That's how they got their last 2 wins. But hey, for Chicago, a win is a win, and this is 3 points tonight in the NWSL standings.
Clea Watt, the former Houston Dash player, giving hugs to the Dash. The Dash will be back. They came in as a hot team. They'll continue to be a hot team, but it is the Red Stars who get a 2-1 win. We'll be back to wrap it up from just outside Chicago. Congratulations to the Red Stars.